was good with them in the 90s. But, man, let's not all be Dallas Cowboys fans. Let's not ride the 20-year past into the future here. I mean, if we're going to use that excuse, then there's no reason for teams like, the Eagles to get as much coverage as they do, when they're starting to get hot, because they've never really done anything. There's no reason for,
but but Deuce, where the media is up there in on the East Coast.
Yeah, I know.
But
Green Bay
dictate,
ain't nowhere near the East Coast.
But see, the Green Bay's legacy, ever since Lombardi, has cemented them as darlings of the NFL media, guys like Peter King and those guys, right? So you're going to have that influence to Green Bay because they're the darlings. Even the Raiders, the resurgence of the Raiders, that the mythology of the Raiders, they lost the Oakland Raiders. That's what they want to hear. So that's what is influencing these guys as well. You listen to some of these so-called analysts, man, and they could say the same thing about us, but you listen to these analysts on a day-to-day basis, they have no facts to back up why they believe that these guys should be the best here and the best there, other than the little stats that they see, because most of them never really watch the game. If you watch a Saints game, you can see where our defense is improving, right? I mean, look how they have shut down opponents in the second half, in 6 straight games? It's amazing. Yeah. So, I'm just saying to you guys, the facts are, and it's an unfortunate fact, the media, they're going to call it how they want to see it. They're not going to call it like it is.
Yeah, you're right. We were just talking about that with Tom Brady. It's not more that I don't understand why the things are that they are. I just think my frustration that they are that way, if that makes any sense. I hate seeing things be like that because maybe it's just because I'm from Louisiana. I'm just used to people talking down about my city and my state, and I'm just used to people assuming that when I say I'm from Louisiana that I'm uneducated and all that I know is fried alligator and Mardi Gras. I'm just tired of the perception that Louisiana is a state of losers. And I know I'm kind of way getting off track here, but I think a lot of people agree to me when they hate that mentality. And that's why we cling so hard to LSU winning and the Saints winning, is because we all want to break free of this idea that everybody in Louisiana is poor and failures and nothing comes good out of Louisiana. Because everything about us in the media, whether it be about Bobby Jindal, whether it be about, the shootings in Baton Rouge in terms of social things that are going on, the poverty, the politics, even our sporting lately, is just how there's not a lot of good talked about us. It's like Kyle said, when they bring up the Saints, it's over 10 years later. We're still having to hear about Katrina. Look, my family went through Katrina. I had to deal with all that and clean up after it and live with the aftermath of that. And while my family might not have been affected as much as, say, another family, that was still part of my life. I have no desire to go relive that and be reminded that happened and existed. I don't want to build a memorial to Katrina, yet we're reminded of the bad consistently here in Louisiana. And that affects people, man. People just have this defeated mindset. Not everybody, obviously. I'm not saying Brian has that mindset or I have that mindset or you who are listening out there have that mindset. But when you just tell people that they're failures, they're going to start believing it. And I'm tired of that being just kind of portrayed over our entire state and our communities. I believe that we're winners. Maybe I'm just speaking out of turn here, but I'm just tired of the same old mantra that the only thing that we can find to talk about Louisiana is bad stuff. And that's why I cling so hard to the successes of people like Mark Ingram for the Saints, or when LSU and, Coach O now, that story, I love it because it's a success story of somebody from inside Louisiana rising up. I love that stuff because it shows that we're not just a bunch of hooligans down here who do nothing but, take our tops off from Mardi Gras and eat food. There's so much more to our culture and who we are. And that's why I get so frustrated. I realize it's a media narrative. They're going to stream things like that. But I'm just tired of Louisiana and, in turn, then myself being portrayed like a loser or I've got nothing and we're going nowhere. I'm just sick of hearing it.
I can't put it any better than that. And unfortunately, guys, I'm about to walk into a real noisy truck yard. So I'm going to cut my part of this short and just simply say that, I'm pretty sure you guys can take it from here. And I don't know what's going to happen this week. I'm going to be at the game as well, dude, so hopefully I can catch up with you. But I don't know what's going to happen this week when it comes to the Detroit Lions, but I can say this. No matter what happens this season, I still believe the Saints are going to be one of the teams to beat next season because what they're doing now with that young core is thoroughly impressive. And, I mean, it's only going to get better from here, especially if number 9 can, continue to be number 9. You guys have a great night, man. Be blessed, fellas. I'll catch y'all next time.
All right. Thanks, Brian.
All right, Brian. It's great having you with us as always. People listening in, we're still going, so don't worry. Brian might have to walk into a loud room, but that doesn't mean you got to. You can still listen to us talk about Saints football. Maybe Kyle's going to come on here and tell me to shut up and that I shouldn't have gone on that rant I went on.
Man, no. Rants are good. Ask the professor. That's how he got famous. He got ranting, raving all the time. But, I just want to move the conversation in this direction. Saints fans, Hoodats, and people from Louisiana are not losers. We have overcome a lot of tragedy.
Let me say this, Kyle. I mean, do you
bad
disagree,
situations.
or do you see where I'm coming from with that? Like, you understand why I'm tired of hearing the same old thing over and over and over and over.
Yeah. When I first left Louisiana back in 1984, when I attended college in Georgia, the perception of people from Louisiana, even in Georgia, is that we were backwards. I'm thinking, Georgia, that's South too, right? So,
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, the perception of Louisiana is not at a high like some other states in the union. But the thing that we have to do and continue to do is be more progressive and be able to put winning teams out there so people can look at New Orleans and look at Louisiana in a different light with the Saints, LSU, Tulane, the Baby Cakes now, and other places, and the Pelicans, right? But, I just think if we just, continue to do well and excel at whatever we're doing, we can be able to twist those perceptions around into our favor.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's obviously a process. This isn't going to change overnight, and it's certainly not going to change just because I, throw a tantrum on a podcast. But it's, it's still frustrating, and there's obviously steps being made. I mean, the Saints aren't just the only, good story. I don't know how many people follow like the world of tech and the tech industry. I follow it because I'm a part of it. I mean, I'm a A+ technician. I do computer work. I'll probably be going on to Network and Project Plus and all that other stuff. So I'm very familiar with technology. Well, we've got CenturyLink up in Monroe, Louisiana, which is one of the largest tech firms in the continental U.S. Stationed here in Louisiana. I mean, they are a big name group. So it's not like we just have the Saints. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that is starting to finally come to Louisiana. And that's why I want to get out there. People need to hear that. How many people know that a company like CenturyLink that is a top, echelon company who is partnered with IBM? We've actually got IBM building a massive building in Monroe, Louisiana, of all places right now, that is going to have, I'm not sure the total amount. I think it's a couple hundred jobs being brought. CenturyLink's already got a couple thousand people it employs. We're talking about a massive company just from a local hub standpoint, not counting all the employees they have across the nation. So stuff like that the state is actually bringing in and success that it is having. I know we're not talking about Saints football now, but that's the kind of stuff. I mean, people need to hear that and know that exists and know that there's opportunity here. They don't have to go to Ohio, to be a tech guy, or New York to be a tech guy, or, stuff like that. We have stuff here now, where we can facilitate that and grow here in-house. Well, and that's what I love about the Saints, because they employ so many people here. I mean, it's not like a lot of other NFL teams that have their headquarters not in the same city, or they don't have all their summer camps in the same city. We do most of our stuff here with the exception of the Greenbrier. I mean, we employ in-house.
Well, I tell you, Deuce, not only CenturyLink, there's some great companies like Latrim and Interlocks. Those guys are doing some tremendous things with those new conveyor systems that they are putting into place in large facilities like Amazon and as well as in some of the airports across the world as well. I mean, we have some great technology companies. The problem is, like you said, is how many people know about them also within the state. We need to do a better job, and this is for the governor's office to do as much as he can to publicize what we're doing so people are aware.
Yeah, and it's not that I'm like, I don't work for CenturyLink, so I'm not just throwing their name out there just to throw it out there. But CenturyLink is a Fortune 500 company. If I remember right, they're like in the top 150. Obviously, that's not like number one, number two.
That's still large.
Those all seem to sit up in North, in New England, basically.
Right.
But to have that here in Louisiana, and we don't boast that, and we're not proud about it, and sharing that, we got to get the word out there. That is a massive company. That is a lot of money and power sitting here in our state. That, to me, that's the winner. I mean, you looking for a winner? Well, there you go. You've got the Saints, the Pelicans, you've got sports teams, you've got not just attractions, but you have legitimate, you can raise your family here now. I mean, that kind of stuff I get excited about. I might talk a lot of things that there's problems in our communities, but I love Louisiana. I'm trying to fix and help Louisiana, and if I ever get, God ever moves me somewhere else, my home and heart is still going to be Louisiana, and I'm very proud of the things that we have. And it's not just the culture I'm proud of. I love our culture, but I love even more that we're progressing, as you said, and we have companies like that here now that we can brag about.
Right. And not only that, man, if we take it back to sports, especially in the National Football League, look at the success of the LSU Tiger alumni and what they're doing and the impact they are having in the National Football League. I heard a statistic, I believe it was on CBS, stating how LSU players are, you'll find them at the top of the list, compared to Ohio State and Alabama players that are really making the impact in the starting lineups in most of these teams. So, I mean, that has a lot to be said. Most of those kids are Louisiana bred. So, Peyton Manning, Louisiana bred. Eli, Louisiana bred, right? Beckham, right? So, yeah. So a lot of that, I agree with you, man. We just have to do a better job at publicizing.
Yeah, I agree. And we actually have, let everybody know, we got a friend from Saints Nation who will be joining us shortly. And also, possibly, if I can coax him to get on here, my former friend and colleague at Top Sports Reports. So, guys, make sure you're tuning in. We've still got about another 40 minutes of the show. We're going to dedicate about the rest of it to really talk about this upcoming Lions game. Kyle, I want to get your opinion on this game because I'm pretty sure that you saw the blowout win against the Rams.
Yes.
I actually went and found the stat. The Rams were ranked number 2 in defense. They're currently ranked number 9. That's how bad we thrashed them. But can we really – I know this is the first time this year and on the show that I'm getting optimistic and I'm letting my emotions run ahead of my logic. But do you really think we could transfer that going against Stafford? Because as someone on Twitter very truthfully pointed out, this Lions team has a lot of grit. They've been down in the fourth quarter. They've even lost fourth quarter leads and found ways to win. So, right. I mean, that does scare me.
Well, I tell you, you have a good point. Stafford has been performing well at times. Early on in games, he does okay. Then middle of the games, he kind of goes back to old Stafford. Like you said, down the stretch, he finds a way to be able to bring his team back. Kind of similar to what David Carr has been doing, right? So this is a game that the Saints need to still have the edge that they had against the Rams. You cannot take a team like the Detroit Lions for granted because those guys are playing for standings